and welcome back to Cooking with MoWino on the morning after the Super Bowl. As you can see, I did not have a stake in the game. However, my home city was the host. So, cheers to my friends down in South Florida, and I am having a mojito. To cheers for the hometown team. Anyway, so today is Sunday, but you're watching this the morning after. So for the Super Bowl, in enthusiasm for our hometown team, I decided to make a tropical pork dish that is going to simmer low and slow, and we can have a fabulous pork stew in the north while our friends are staying warm in the south and cheering on the other guys. So here we have everything assembled. I have a plastic bag inside a bowl that I am going to add 1.5 pounds of cubed pork tenderloin. Oops, not all of it made it in the bag. A few little critters jumped out. Okay. So, here we go. I am adding 1 pound of chopped apricots, dried apricots. A cup of raisins. 3 tablespoons of chopped fresh parsley. And what we're doing here is we're just making a marinade for the pork. Afterwards, after a few hours, we will take it out and make the magic happen. 2 tablespoons of coconut sugar. 2 tablespoons of chopped fresh rosemary. Always got to add salt. Pepper. A tablespoon of dried thyme. Now I chose the seasonings because they all go good with pork. Thyme and now cumin for some smokiness. I'm going to do a heaping teaspoon. And rosemary are all spices that I normally would use when I was roasting pork. And I added the herbs of parsley because I just wanted some strength and a little bit of bitterness put in to combat the sweetness of the fruit. And adding more sweetness, 2 tablespoons of orange blossom honey. Now, I came up with this recipe this morning, and I have to say, if I had orange juice or pineapple juice in the house, I would have added that to the marinade, but I didn't have it in the house and I didn't feel like going to the store. So this is all the things that were in my pantry. And of course, my wine. So I have here 1.5 cups of sweet white wine, which I'm not drinking because I'm having my mojito. So I'm just going to put this in the bag and then basically massage all this goodness together. Want everything to get really good and incorporated. Especially that honey because it's thick. I want to make sure it disperses. Okay, so we have our marinade. And I'm going to put this in the refrigerator and let it marinate for a few hours while we do game time prep, watching it on TV because we are not at home in Miami. Stay tuned. It has been marinating in its fruit and wine sauce marinade for a few hours, and now I've taken the pork chunks out of the marinade and I have lightly floured them, and I'm going to sear them in my Dutch oven. I have 2 tablespoons of olive oil that is nice and hot. It's a small sizzle, but there's a sizzle. So I'm going to cook this in batches because you don't want to ever crowd your pan when you are browning meat. So we're going to put the pork in as much as I can without overcrowding the pan, because they won't sear if you get them too many in there and they're touching each other, because we want a sear on them. I've got room for one more. There you go. Okay, so we're probably going to have 2.5 batches of searing our pork on our Super Bowl Sunday Miami tropical pork. Stay tuned. We have now seared our pork cubes, 1-inch cubes, and I am just trying to get some of the scrapings off the bottom of this pan before we start adding, incorporating the layers of our tropical pork stew. I'm calling it a stew. Never made it before, so we're thinking it's going to be a stew. But it's definitely tropical and pork. So, just getting off these gorgeous brown bits that are going to flavor and color our broth of our stew beautifully. I have to say, this was quite of an oil intensity and it splattered everywhere. So I think one of the things that is very important to learn from this experience, you must, when you have your meat marinating and then you're going to sear it like I did, you need to pat it dry. And evidently I did not pat it dry well enough. I thought I did, but it grease was just popping everywhere. So, words of wisdom. Pat your, I can see Julia Child now always saying, pat your chicken. Alright. I almost have all the brown bits off the pan. There's one little section over here. Let me tell you, if we were just making gravy, this is awesome right now. Okay, so I am going to add more wine, the same wine that was in our marinade, just to help give more liquid to these brown bits here. Yeah. Alright, so one thing I did not add to our marinade, so I'm adding it now, and that is crushed garlic, a heaping tablespoon. It's my favorite measurement, a heaping tablespoon. Alright. Okay, so I have peeled and cubed 1 sweet potato. And I have chopped into roughly 1-inch pieces so that everything's the same size. 1 white onion. I would say it was a medium onion. You see? Looks good. Dolphin colors. Okay, so now I'm going to put my pork back into the pan, including any kind of loose drippings that are on this plate. And I just want to also mention, this was a fresh plate. I did not put the cooked pork on the plate that had the raw pork. Never do that. That's cross-contamination. So, cooked meat means new plate. Alright. So this is already looking delicious. This is my original marinade of apricots, raisins, white wine, coconut sugar, and honey. as well as some spices of parsley, rosemary, cumin. This is looking really nice. Now, our pork was floured in cornstarch, so that should provide some sort of thickening agent for the liquid that I'm about to add. So I'm going to add some chicken broth, and I'm measuring it out because I just want to get a handle on what I'm doing since I'm making up this recipe. That was 3/4 of a cup. So let's see, we have 1 cup of chicken broth, and we had added in another 1/2 cup of wine. And I'm thinking this is looking pretty good. So we are going to put the lid on and going to put it in our oven that has been preheated to 350.